Hello, I'm Harsha. In this video, I'm going to talk about a scientist named Howard Martin Temin. Howard Martin Temin was born on December 10, 1934 and died on February 9, 1994. He was a US geneticist and virologist. He discovered reverse transcriptase in the year 1970s at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, for which he shared the 1975 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine with Renato Dulbecco and David Baltimore. Here is the image of Howard Martin Temin. Here comes few awards received by Howard Martin Temin: NAS Award in Molecular Biology in the year 1972, Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in the year 1975 for MEMRS 1988. Here is the fields in which Howard Martin Temin worked. It is genetics and virology. Here are some awards and honors. In 1992, Temin received the National Medal of Science. Temin was elected a foreign member of the Royal Society in the year 1988. Here is some information about his early life and education. Temin was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to Jewish parents, Annette and activist, and Henry Temin, an attorney. As a high school student at Central High School in Philadelphia, he participated in the Jackson Laboratories Summer Student Program in Bar Harbor, Maine. The director of the program, C.C. Little, told his parents that Temin was unquestionably the finest scientist of the 57 students who have attended the program since the beginning. I can't help but feel this boy is destined to become a really great man in the field of science. Temin said that his experience at Jackson's laboratory is what really got him interested in science. Temin received his bachelor's degree from Swarthmore College in 1955, majoring and minoring in biology in the honors program. He received his doctorate degree in animal virology from the California Institute of Technology in the year 1959. Coming to his career and research, Temin's first exposure to experimental science was during his time at the California Institute of Technology as a graduate student in laboratory of Professor Renato Dulbecco. Temin originally studied embryology at Caltech, but after a year and a half, he switched to animal virology. He became interested in Dulbecco's lab after a chance run-in with Harry Rubin, a postdoctoral fellow in Dulbecco's lab. In the lab, Temin studied the Ross sarcoma virus, a tumor-causing virus that infects chickens. During his research on this virus, he observed that mutations in the viral yielded alterations in the structural characteristics of the infected cell. Thus, integration into cell's genome was occurring. In 1960, the McRalde Laboratory for Career Research at the University of Wisconsin-Madison recruited Temin as a virologist, a position that had been hard to fill because at that time, virology was not considered pertinent to cancer research. Even though Temin knew he would be completely independent of Madison because of the lack of research involving virology and oncology together, Temin stated that he was supremely self-confident when he first arrived in Madison in 1960. He found an unprepared laboratory in the basement of a rundown building with an office that could be considered a closet. While studying the Ross sarcoma virus at UW-Madison, Temin began to refer to the genetic material that the virus introduced to the cells, the provirus, using the antibiotic actinomycin D, which inhibits the expression of DNA. He determined that the provirus was DNA or was located on the cell's DNA. Temin's description of how tumor viruses act on the genetic material of the cell through reverse transcriptase was revolutionary. This upset the widely held belief at the time of popularized version of the central dogma of molecular biology positioned by Nobel laureate Francis Crick, one of the co-discoverers of the structure of DNA. Crick had claimed only that sequence information cannot flow out of protein into DNA or RNA, but he was commonly interpreted as saying that information flows exclusively from DNA to RNA to protein. In 1969, Temin showed that certain tumor viruses carried the enzymatic ability to reverse the flow of information from RNA back to DNA using reverse transcriptase. Reverse transcriptase was also independently and simultaneously discovered in association with the murine leukemia virus by David Baltimore at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. In 1975, Baltimore and Temin shared the Nobel Prize of Physiology or Medicine. Both scientists completed their initial work with RNA-independent DNA polymerase with the Ross sarcoma virus. The discovery of reverse transcriptase is one of the most important of the modern era of medicine, as reverse transcriptase is a central enzyme in several widespread viral diseases such as AIDS and hepatitis B. Reverse transcriptase is also an important component of several important techniques in molecular biology, such as the reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction and diagnostic medicine. Here now let us discuss about how his life went after receiving the Nobel Prize. After receiving the Nobel Prize in 1975, Temin went from a rebel in the scientific community to a highly respected researcher. Temin began receiving international recognition for his work and used his newly acquired fame to improve the world. An example of this was in October 1976. Temin helped scientists in the Soviet Union that were targeted by the KGB, the secret police in the Soviet Union. The Jewish Soviet scientists had been stripped of their jobs and oppressed after requesting visas to emigrate to Israel. Temin made it his mission to personally visit the scientists and their families. He gave them gifts that he could resold to help them financially and gave the scientists copies of scientific journals which had been banned by the KGB. After receiving the Nobel Prize from King Carl Gustaf of Sweden, Temin addressed the smokers in the audience, which included the Queen of Denmark, saying he was outraged that one major measure available to prevent much cancer, namely the cessation of smoking, had not been more widely adopted. He had also insisted that the ashtray located on the list table be removed. After winning the Nobel Prize, Temin also became more active in the scientific community outside of research. He was involved in over 14 scientific journals. In 1979, he became an advisory member for the director of the National Institute of Health (NIH) and a member of the Human Gene Therapy subgroup of the Recombinant DNA Advisory Committee. He was also a member of the National Cancer Advisory Member and the chairman of AIDS Subcommittee at the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases (NIAID). He was the chairman of Genetic Variation Advisory Panel on the Development of AIDS and was a member of Vaccine Advisory Board in the National Academy of Sciences. He was a member of the Waxman Award Committee and Report Review Committee. In 1986, Temin became a member of the Institute of Medicine NAS Committee for National Strategy for Public Policy Issues Associated with AIDS. The last committee Temin served on was the World Health Organization Advisory Council. In the year 1981, Temin became a founding member of the World Cultural Council. Coming to his death and legacy, Temin taught and conducted research at UW-Madison until he died of lung cancer on February 9, 1994. He was survived by his wife Raila, a geneticist at UW-Madison, 2 daughters and 2 brothers, Peter Temin, also an academic, and Michael Temin.